So formal.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, glad you guys were able to get together here. So I guess we should start. Have either of you talked to one another outside of the Discord, or is this the first time kind of connecting?
First time we've chatted. I haven't but the only person I've really communicated with is I've had a couple of messages with Carmen just about kind of the box, potentially having a chat with the team about things, and then also, and to thank her obviously. I had a chat with Chasing Tails just about her experience. But no, I haven't haven't really been very good at the one-on-one stuff, just been busy on the Discord.
Yeah. It's so easy to do. There's just such a ocean of conversations that are kind of coming in and going. So I want to definitely get to that as well. Let's maybe start by going around the horn, just introducing yourself. I don't know, your handle or metaverse identity and a general location if you want to, and then how you got involved with Altered State Machine.
Yeah. Do you want to go first, Suda?
Sure. I'm Suda. On Discord, I'm thesudio. I'm a mod for the ASM Discord, and that's basically just happened through me being there all the time. I'm like a new working from home person, so I have like all this newfound freedom. Just kind of basically how I got back into crypto. I went away from crypto, bought a house, and came back into it now since lockdown. And this is pretty much the first project that I've gotten into since then.
That's great.
Completely new to NFTs. Didn't know nothing before ASM, and now I've built like a little studio space in my house to make videos about it. So I've gotten fully in there, as much in there as I could possibly, really.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's me. My background is I work at the university in like some admin scheduling sort of capabilities, which a brain would be amazing for. And also I own a recording studio and record like rappers and bands and things like that.
Wow, very cool.
And so yeah, that's me.
Nice.
So I'm Phil, but on the Discord, PJFluffMcGlitch, and I think on Twitter I'm Punk5098. So I'm based in the UK, in Shropshire, in the which is near Wales, and I kind of just fell into NFTs. I was doing a bit of like just investing in Ethereum, a bit of trading on liquidity provision on Uniswap. And then I listened to a bunch of podcasts, and one of them just started talking about NFTs and how the Holy Grail was buying a punk. And I thought, maybe I should buy one of those.
And how long ago was this?
Yeah, this was probably about June. I looked at them when they were about 10 ETH, and I thought, that's crazy. It's just like a JPEG.
Yeah, right.
And then I just heard there was a couple of podcasts within a week where I think one with a guy from Fractionalized, and I can't remember the other one, Bankless or something. And they were both talking about how everyone trades NFTs to get to a punk. And I thought, you know what, if I don't buy one now, I might never buy one. So I did. And that was about 22 ETH I paid.
Yeah. Wow.
But that was it. I just thought, I'll buy that. That's cool. And then I'll carry on doing the other stuff. And then I just got sucked in. I've no idea, but sucked in. And so that my ETH always runs dry. But that's me. But I'm obviously loving it. I got very, very, very lucky with my, obviously my strong conviction to ape into the project as much as I could.
Yeah.
But I got very lucky that I think it was the first actual paid for, the first mint that I did of 3 boxes, the glitch box came out, which obviously I didn't know. I just kept on minting, and then afterwards I realized.
Yeah, how special it was.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So I feel like, do you want to go by Phil or PJ T for this recording?
I don't. PJ's fine. I don't.
Okay.
Sorry, I meant Phil. Phil's fine. Yeah, Phil's probably easier. That's what most people call me.
It's tough, especially for you, Phil, to keep up, because I feel like you've got a handful of nicknames already. They lovingly referred to you as Glitchy Boy. So there's another potential. I personally think that you should be referred to as Alpha Jedi or Alpha One Kenobi, because every time you go on stage in the AMAs, the team just loves to start talking.
Oh yeah, drop a bit of alpha. Yeah, it's good, isn't it?
It's like you're Jack Bauer or something, and it's not always the direct answer to your question. You seem to compel them to just share new information willingly. So please continue to participate in the AMAs. We all appreciate it.
Thank you.
Nice.
So what about yourself?
Yeah, so I'm brand new to both crypto and to NFTs. I think my journey down the rabbit hole started in the middle of the night, right as our daughter was born, and I was on, bottle duty. I feel like I'm always on the hunt for new podcasts. And one of them was it might've been Peter McCormack's podcast on Bitcoin. And so that was kind of how I got my start. This was like January of this year. So, I'm class of 2021 for everything crypto related. NFT wise, like I mentioned, through Axie Infinity is how I was introduced to the world of NFTs, but I had always thought of NFTs as like utility first and then art second, because I don't know if you have experience with Axie Infinity, but that's kind of the order that they've put things in. So I'm always thinking like, well, what functions more than just, something that looks beautiful or that you can, hang on a digital wall. And that was Axie Infinity for me. And then I stumbled across ASM. So that's my abbreviated journey. I feel like I'm drinking from a fire hose every week.
Yeah.
Yeah. For sure.
Studio, I guess the first reasonable question to ask you is, are you human? You're all over the Discord, so we're appreciative for
all times of day and night. Yeah.
All times of day and night. Yeah. We're so appreciative of your work rate.
It's all good. It's just basically tinnitus and insomnia, and this is a great outlet, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And the things to deal with those is like distraction, and there's always something happening.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like your I guess evolution of getting involved as a mod is just, if you're too valuable, then they're going to have to keep you, right? So you just contributed too much, and they're now asking you to work all hours of the day. That's great.
I mean, it's nothing, because like this is my first NFT project. Mm-hmm. And I minted like 4 boxes, I think.
Okay.
And in my crypto journey, buying something for 0.09 ETH, and right now it's like 1.5.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting.
I mean, that's never happened to me before. So they've already paid me in a way.
There you go. Yeah. What would you
So,
say is more exciting? The thought of minting something at 0.09 ETH and where it is now at what I think, let's say the floor is 1.8 ETH. Is that exciting to you, or is it exciting to think about where we go from here? And we haven't even, opened these boxes yet and started playing.
Yeah, I mean, as a price talk, it doesn't really bother me, like, because I've lost private keys and found them later on and stuff like that. So I don't really care about keeping something there. But the utility provided to us is just insane. And it's not just me who is like slightly nerdy into gaming and stuff like that, but ASM will pull like financiers, miners, like Uber nerds, like people who think in
artists, everyone,
artists, like a whole plethora of communities will all want a brain, because it's expression, right? Like humans just want to express themselves, whether it's in the real world or the metaverse. And now the metaverse like provides a utility and expressiveness for like introverts who don't really go out in the real world. So I just feel like to make the metaverse more vibrant and have a soul of a kind, like of some sort, would be like the next step, and that next step is being ushered in by ASM, kind of.
Yeah, it's really fascinating to see. And to your point, I think And really you foster this spirit, which is a spirit of positivity in the Discord community. I feel like everybody that may have been, would never even think to get on stage and ask a question in front of 150, 200 people, because of the interactions that you have with them via Discord every day. I think it kind of breaks those walls down, and people are, kind of blossoming in that sense.
Yeah, the community is just amazing. Like I've been part of many crypto groups, many like, run-of-the-mill crypto groups, but many toxic ones, and many ones where they don't have I don't know, like staying power. They might be active in the Discord for like 3 weeks or something, and then you'll never see them again and stuff like that. But our Discord, everyone comes back is like, what's happening now? Like,
yeah.
And then you can tell them like.
Speaking of the Discord, do you think everything's okay while you're talking to us right now, or should we be concerned about the Discord self-destructing? You're doing double duty right now. Okay.
Oh look, there's more new people asking about gyms and things. Oh no, we got Shlu. I don't know how to say that, but yeah, he's a great mod. He's holding it down right now, so we don't have to worry. We've got mods.
We'll try to talk to him. Does the Control or Command C and V buttons on your keyboard still work? Do you find yourself like a broken record, or I guess what is the most asked question in Discord that you see inevitably that every new person asks?
I think Discord is basically the first question is usually about Asto lately.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I do have some copy pasted templates if I do want to completely just give a copy pasted answer, but I usually never do. And there's usually like a couple people answering the question now, so that's quite nice.
Yeah, that's great. Phil, so again, speaking of Discord, we all loved the video that you shared recently with your kids. I think you've got some rising stars in the making on YouTube.
Absolutely.
It's funny because my son is really quite shy.
Okay.
He's very creative, but really quite shy.
The director.
And my daughter's kind of, my daughter's done kind of a reading blog for books, and then she's doing baking blog. The reading one was video, the baking one was just kind of WordPress or something. But she kind of like loves to perform, but then they just disappeared for a few hours, and it was after the last AMA, and I woke up after obviously quite a late night for me, and it's hard to get to sleep after all the alpha that was being dropped, and I sort of told them in the morning and showed them some of the snapshots I'd taken of the characters, and they were so excited. And then they just disappeared. Normally they'll go and play for half an hour, then someone will say something to the other, and they won't want to play together. But they said, "Daddy, can you come and sit down? We've done this thing. Can we put it on the TV?" And then they showed me a video clip of their recreation of the unboxing. And I was, obviously just blown away by what they did.
It was so well done. And I'm sure, Suda, you've got, you can give him a tip of the hat as well as a producer.
Amazing. It was absolutely amazing.
I think they want to do one when they open.
I think I might have watched it a couple of times and showed my wife. It was so cute.
As we would say here in the US, it wasn't their first rodeo. It was clear that they had a vision and they executed on it pretty effectively. So it was really cute.
It was obviously very impressive.
Is Octopus Prime the character that they're most looking forward to or most hoping that they would get? Or
I think they're like so Space Cowboy. They love. Octopus Prime as well. I think my daughter. Well, I said I really like Tired Guy. I think he's down from Honeypot or above Honeypot or one of that kind of derivative. Only because I'm nearly always tired after staying up late, kind of, especially after the AMAs. So I thought that was quite appropriate. But but it's just all of them. I think we were looking through all the characters today and kind of working out. I still think, without driving the price up in case someone looks to sell it in the future, I still think Player 2 to me is kind of just amazing. I know it's one of the first two done, but just looks so awesome. And that, I think, you know, when that's what grabbed me initially, is this idea of really amazing players playing like what I class as like Football Manager, but artificial intelligence, and like they need to know what a goal is and what the balls are and what team and everything. I was just absolutely, yeah, just so excited to think that that would exist as a thing.
Right. Yeah, I think player 2 was one of the first leaks, right, in the Discord channel, where he was kind of jogging in place. And that, you know, I know they say over and over again in the AMAs that they're setting the bar, or resetting the bar rather, pretty high, and all other NFT projects better, you know, take notice and catch up, or else. And I think that's so accurate. Just the amount of value that they're cramming into one NFT transaction for us is just mind-boggling to think about.
Yeah, definitely.
So is that really how the dinner conversations go for your family at the moment? It's all about ASM, or?
Well, no, I'd say before. So until recently, what would happen is I would take my wife out, like we'd go out for a walk the dogs, and she would wait and see how long it was before I started talking about NFTs. And she kind of humored me for a while. And I think once we got kind of all the way, we normally walk down the village all the way to the post box before I said, oh, this one thing happened. So yeah, it's I try not to talk too much about it, but I think
That's funny.
when big things happen, excitement. It's interesting what you were saying about the Discord. What Suda was saying. It is so many of the Discords I'm on are kind of feel quite toxic. You can see that. I've got everyone can be on there with whatever agenda they want, but you can tell there's so much talk about flaw and so much aggression and like you're some sort of idiot. Do you not know that? Is it not? And what I like is clearly, and this is, today's a good example. You get loads of people that have come onto a Discord. Now, for me, I'm like, what can I read? What videos can I watch to understand? But a lot of people are just like, hey, what is this? And then the next person is like, I've got one of these. What does it do? And on other Discords, that would be ridiculed, where it's not. It's kind of like, okay, here's some things you want to look at. This is really good. And then, like you say, the questions, when's the unboxing? When's the reveal? What's Asto? How do we do? And it's the community of just kind of together, obviously with majority of the work's done by the mods, but sort of just trying to just sort of field some of these nice questions in a really friendly way so that people feel like they can come back and they can learn and ask questions and make mistakes. And it's not about, I mean, clearly everyone wants these things to be valuable and make money, but it's not, I don't get the sense it's kind of about
a money first thing.
Exploring. Yeah, that's exactly, in my opinion. I mean, I'm sure there are people in there.
Yeah, I completely agree. Yeah, I think a lot of times, and I have pretty limited exposure to other projects. I was fortunate also in stumbling into the Robotos, just a sort of 2D NFT like PFP group, and same thing. It's just like Pleasantville there. Everybody's all so friendly and talking, and I think what it boils down to is I just like dip my toe into other Discord channels to see if I want to get started on a project is like people's time horizons. And I think the more that there is like a sense of urgency, that like that's 99% just flippers that are trying to make a quick buck and move on to the next thing without any care in the world. But it feels like, to your point, Phil, the conversations that we're having in this Discord is very much like white glove treatment, onboarding new potential people, because they're not just chat buddies. There are essentially business partners going forward. And so the more that we can strengthen the Genesis, foundation, I think the better off we're all going to be, because it's going to scale exponentially.
Yeah, definitely.
So
absolutely.
What, I guess, question for either of you guys, when you stumbled across the project, did you initially find the AFA portion more appealing or the brain component more appealing? And how has that changed over time as you learn more?
Yeah, I can go first. But for me, it was neither. I just saw a Facebook post by a New Zealand company talking about some cool shit, and I was like, oh yeah, got to support the local.
Yeah,
and then what a better project to get into, right? Like,
that's amazing.
And now I'm like, because I'm a recording artist and I know artists, like how appeal works and expression works, I think the forms do have a lot of value that people are writing off. Because once you have brains that can play, or we get to a point where we have other games, etc., we'll have new forms. So we once you have a brain, that brain is yours for like ever to keep if you want, right?
Right.
But that brain can go into so many other little forms, and that's going to be like a collection base, you know, where I have X amount of brains, but I have like 120 NFTs to put them into if I want, or farm other brains into if I want, and they can go all do their thing. But how people interact with that brain is going to be a form, and they're going to recognize that in the metaverse, you know, if I had like a very unique look or whatever.
Yeah.
So I think I was first into brains, and then now I'm into everything.
Yeah, it's definitely the spider effect, where you have this entry point and then you start to realize that there's just so many concentric circles of applications that you can really just keep rolling from one use case into the next.
For sure.
What about you, PJ?
I think so. Well, it's definitely more game related, as in I love, like I've looked into kind of AI and the stuff that they were doing over at kind of Google and the DeepMind with, you know, playing the old arcade games and Go and chess and different things like this, and how they develop these AI models. But I mean, I love the idea of football games, but with a bit more simplicity. Not like, I mean, I like things like FIFA, but not where you've got to, you know, be able to master like 12 button presses to do kind of clever, fancy things, but just where you can get involved in the characters and buy into the characters, but then use this other thing with the AI and see them develop like you'd see your children develop within a football team or something. And so that kind of grabbed me at first. And then I think what I loved was, I think I bought a fluff when they first came out, not minted, I didn't hear about them, but people were talking about fluff. So I bought a fluff, and then I thought, this is okay. And then I didn't really learn about it, and then I sold it. But after obviously I got into this project, I then saw on a few of the podcasts, I think it was Aaron was talking about kind of fluff world. And actually I started to understand kind of the whole, you know, the whole idea, the whole big picture. And then I started to realize that obviously these the brains you can potentially use them in the likes of fluffs and voids and maybe clone X's, all these things that they may or may not work with in the future. And what I liked is how other people could find uses for those things, like how someone would say, I think on one of the AMAs a few weeks ago, someone was saying, so I've got this plumbing business, and if I want someone to be like a help bot, and I just thought, having your fluff or your, you know, avatar, whatever that is, a smart avatar, being that thing, I thought was amazing. But I mean, to me, I love the fact that that's there, but that's not what kind of excites me. I think I was talking to my wife today, and I was saying about kind of, you know, when I used to play Football Manager, if you think that then you would be managing a team and it might have these big superstars like Messi and Ronaldo or whoever it was when I was younger, and you're invested in their performance when they're playing a game. But to think that the players that you might have might be like tired guy, player 2, some other guy that you've kind of configured, it's like you own Messi or you own, you know, Ronaldo, all these players, and that you have the rights to then do a video with them, or them playing another game, or them go walk around Decentraland, or wear a jetpack and fly around, you know, all of these. To me, it's just like, this is great. This is crazy. It is like beyond your dreams about what a project could be like, with the foundation of this, like, just, oh my God, these guys are going to play football. I can't wait to do that. As opposed to, you mentioned Axie, I got into Axie, but I like the concept of Axie. I got into kind of like the breeding. I thought, this is brilliant. I can buy these 99% whatevers with plant this and this and this. And I got into it, and then they changed their kind of tokenomics on me a little bit through it. And I kind of, I still, you know, did okay on it, probably washed its face, but I never enjoyed playing the game. I played it, you know, now and again, maybe half an hour a day, just to get a few sleep potions to earn like a few dollars here and there. But that to me wasn't the, you know, an enjoyable game. And obviously they've been amazingly successful, so I don't want to knock what they've done, especially when you think about the path that they forged in this, you know, in this industry.
Right.
But to think of a potential of a game which is going to be engaging and you're going to want to watch and participate in, to me is, you know, mind-blowing.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really hard to wrap our heads around. And that's with the limited amount of information that is publicly available today. You know, you can hear the team just kind of giggling behind the scenes on every AMA, determining which little nugget of alpha to disclose. So
which bit of alpha is it? Do we do both those or just one? Or oh no,
right? You were just coaxing it out of them. And I think Chasing Tails is also an all-star at you know, interrogation, polite interrogation.
No fear alpha pulling. Yeah,
exactly. But you know, to your point, I think again, there's a lot of parallels to Axie Infinity in that there, you know, when you talk about gamification, it's not just one, you know, push button and proceed, and that's your game for Axie Infinity. There's people that never play the game. They only focus on the breeding. There's people that only focus on, you know, asset acquisition, like buying land and kind of, you know, so the marketplace for all of those assets is their game, you know, is flipping that. And I see so many parallels with ASM that, you know, just within the AFA world, we're going to talk about, you know, character development, the brain development. You know, are we going to be just focusing on liquidity mining? You know, you're going to be staking? Are you going to be minting new brains? There's so many opportunities for you to participate in this ecosystem. I think everyone's going to find their little space and get excited about that. And maybe maybe you never watch a game. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, one of the topics in the video I'm making, which became like a topic in itself, was just how ASM is going to bring together different parts of the crypto sphere, like the way we have it now and into the future. Like, for instance, Brains just puts a new market within every NFT project that they're going to get into. So you can have an NFT by itself, an NFT that can accept a brain, which makes it more valuable, an NFT that already comes with a brain. So you could, I mean, I don't know if you can bundle like that. So that's probably, that might not be the same way, but you could buy a brain that is fresh, like a farmed brain, plus an NFT, which will have a certain value. Or a person might make a cloned, undisclosed information hereditary brain from a genesis brain, and then you have an option of buying a player plus a brain that already knows how to play, so you don't have to spend time training, etc. And then that's just for soccer, and then everything else is its own sort of meta market. And all stars as well. Like, I've looked at NFT projects before, and they're all usually a form which is one type, and it comes in different colors, or has accessories and stuff. And in ASM we have like families and primes and all sorts, you know, like the variation is insane. Plus we have uncustomized and customized, so you could sell an uncustomized player for, you know, maybe higher value than a customized one, because, you know, people want to express themselves through their player, etc. And then you could put a brain in uncustomized, and that's a new market. So it just goes insane if you let your mind go.
Can you imagine walking around Decentraland and you've got a brain in your fluffs and your thingies and your clonex and your apes, and they're just kind of, you've trained them just to sort of follow you around and you've got like this big posse of all of your avatars that normally would just be sat in your wallet and OpenSea doing absolutely.
I'm tagging along with your posse. Phil.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I haven't got most of those things I said, but yeah, it's just amazing like that. But that would be so cool. It like brings to life. I think it's what Aaron and David were saying on some of the calls. It just brings to life the metaverse. I think it was quite funny. One of the calls, I think it was the one where they talked about like, you know, NFTs and gaming, and you had the guys from Artifacts and Meebit there, and they were talking about something, and I think they'd said about like they're quite dull places, and I think I think it was that call, but whatever it was, someone took offense to, oh, they're not, no, they're not, they're really like vibrant when you have these big things. But actually, I've been to Decentraland. It is like ghost town, and you expect tumbleweed to be going past as you're. But if you're not having things that are happening when you're not there, and you're there with big posses, it would be amazing. It would be such a fantastic, but with music that your DJ's created, your party there, it would be unbelievable, wouldn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, I think the interesting aspect of that is going back to this notion of community, that you don't have to kind of sit there in your little shop window and hope that someone passes by. And I think we're going to have the ability, just like we're doing today, to schedule a meetup, and people are going to, you know, converge on this one venue, whether it's an arena or somewhere in Decentraland. There's so many possibilities.
Yeah. And the exciting thing is it won't be a sad meetup like when Facebook or Microsoft comes along and you get to go as yourself into a metaverse, and then
it won't be avatars of us.
Right.
In a nice, it will be our avatars of bunnies, of rat and party bears that are meeting in a high roller burrow with a DJ playing. I mean, that, you know, having a chat like this, how different would that be?
Yeah, it's really cool.
Not dissing this, because this is
also when I think fluffs, when burrows come out and things like that, might also be a place that other metaverses can put assets into or something. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, that would make sense.
If you have a burrow, you could invite your CyberCon mate or whatever and play a CyberCon game as long as CyberCon's come up with a brain that ASM can use, and etc. But you know, this is just the vision for the future. You could sit in your burrow, have a little poker game or whatever, you know.
So while we're on the subject of just, you know, kind of hypothesizing what the future looks like, what do you think the one thing, or maybe handful of things, that you feel most people are sleeping on related to this project? Is there something that's right in our face that no one's talking about? Like, everyone's looking at Asto, everyone's waiting to see what happens in the unboxing, but do you guys have your theories on what the next big announcement is going to be?
No, I have no idea. Every announcement is big, but I don't know, to be honest. Maybe the hereditary AI, where they're talking about breeding brains and breeding players, and when demand definitely grows, you know. That would be my guess. But I think one thing people are sleeping on would definitely be the DAO. Like the fact that everything is community governed is the best way, in my opinion, to govern crypto space, because the community decides the value of things, like how many brains are produced, what I mean, the floor price, etc. That aside, the value intrinsically for the project is community. So I think that's something that's slept on, but I don't know really how to like explain that in an exciting way.
No,
if you think how the project has evolved, because to me, obviously, I've explained what my sort of what captured me initially, but to me, I was looking at this project and thinking, oh my God, what an amazing project. And then as soon as it started getting active, all that started happening initially was people just buying like a brain. That's what they considered the box to be. It's like, like if we buy one of these, we can put it in our fluff, or we can put it, you know, and you had people that were just sweeping up and buying brains for their fluffs. And I think there was this general concept, some spoken, some not spoken, where really they didn't care about the soccer players. They just wanted the brain so they could use it because they love that idea. And I was kind of thinking, why? Like the rare boxes are nearly always the same price as more or less as the original. Yeah. And then there wasn't really much of a premium for mythics, and obviously ultras were more expensive, but not massively considering what they have in. And I kind of was thinking what people are sleeping on then was, I don't think people realize, like when they start to see the gameplay and they start to see these characters evolve, how exciting that P2E element of it could be. And I think I mentioned on Discord today and a few days ago, I went through exactly this with Vox Collectibles, where they had this like hype drop, which was unfortunately a big mess, because I think it was so much more popular than they thought it would be. So they didn't, like, you know, none of the team expected it. And so all the prices were kind of crazy. Then nothing happened for not like this daily alpha drop that we seem to get in this whole community. Nothing happened for a while, and all of the prices just slowly just dried up. Nothing was announced, and the game came out, and the game was okay, and that was it. And you sort of think, well, this has got everything that some of these other projects potentially don't have. And I think I would say what I think is, I mean, we've talked about what I see in terms of the vision of the players being individual kind of celebrities that potentially that you can kind of get behind, and you can be a big fan of one character or the other. But I think, you know, from a pure tokenomics and value point of view, to me, Asto seems crazy, because you're going to get loads of people that have been like, I've just been dropped, whatever it is, $1,000, $2,000, $5,000, whatever the number might be. But they're not going to want to sell it, because if they sell it, then their box is useless.
Yeah.
So unless they just happen to have loads of other coins that they're, you know, liquidity mining and producing the Asto that they can then use for that purpose, they're going to want to take that Asto. They're going to want to mine more brains, at least for their players, so that their players, when the game starts, can all be active and they can train them in AI. And obviously, once they've done that, then they might mine more brains to sell on the open market. But I think that the demand for that Asto, I think, will be huge. So yeah, I think that's the thing that probably, but you saw, I think that a lot of the buying overnight, I think, was people all of a sudden thinking, oh, you're getting an airdrop, rather than necessarily the gameplay, the characters. But I think that will still come, I think, and grow.
Yeah, no doubt. I think this notion of utility is really what drove that last spike. I think people realizing that it's more than just 3D characters, more than just a brain. There's so much that the team is working really hard to have this really, seamless onboarding experience. And it sounds like one of the big hesitations that the community had, there were rumblings of, well, I've potentially stretched myself so thin in just acquiring a box to begin with. Now you're telling me I'm going to need to find some funds to, get my team put together. And so I think they've coordinated the best way, in their opinion, to, start to roll out the tokenomics and make it so that everyone has a good experience. And that just seems so central to all of their decision making is, how can we make this as easy as possible so that it's, easy to start and difficult to master, I think is kind of their, North Star principle.
Yeah, love it.
So the DAO, that's an interesting one to me as well. Just given my newness to the space, I do think that a DAO first approach is really important. And again, going into their decision-making process, I think, take David, for example, when he speaks, it's very clearly his intentions are he's acting as, kind of like an interim manager, essentially, until he gets to hand the keys over.
Yeah.
I was going to do.
So I think they're called Harlan DAO right now, where the founders are basically calling the shots, but that's like a placeholder until we get, I can't remember, Elder DAO. I can't remember.
That sounds right.
Off the top of my head, but and yeah, when that launches, it'll be like a community effort. But yeah, for now, what better founders to make all the decisions, really?
Right. Yeah.
Even like you said, the Asto drop. I mean, obviously, that was people had said, oh, will the airdrops? And I kind of thought they've not mentioned that at any point. Even doing that shows, like you said, they're not. I mean, a lot of people could afford to. I'll stake a bit of ETH and I'll get my Asto, and that will give me. But to think that they wanted it to be so inclusive and to do it in a way that is long-term thinking about the community, as they've done all the way along, instead of being well, we're not going to give them something for free. We've got these companies that have invested, and why would we give away the crown jewels, as you would say?
Yeah.
But that's not how they think at all. Well, so far, everything they've done has seemed to be about the community and giving value, continually giving value on this roadmap. And I think on one of the calls, I think it was Aaron said, from 0 to 10 about where Fluff World is, it's like 2 on the journey of where he sees it going.
Crazy.
And clearly, I mean, ASM must be on a 1 to 10. Where,
and the giving spirit, like, just look at Fluff World. They've got so many like little meta markets within Fluff World. It's like, with breeding and stuff like that, where you have to match a background with a male and a female, presumably, and maybe even music, etc. So and art. Yeah, so the fluff floor can be like your entry point, but then if you want to really get into it and be like a mansion fluff or something with your little fluff kids, etc., you know, with brains in them that they're all doing things with.
I think
Like,
this is the hard thing, is kind of continually having a level where, you know, my wife was saying today, like, what if, so you saying that all these things are going to be like, these players are thousands, how can people play a game that's like that? And it's this idea, I think, with fluff, they introduced the thingies, and until like yesterday or today, really I know it's still a decent amount of money, but there was an entry point at a lower level where you could buy something with the potential, you know, where you know they're still going to deliver value to you. And then maybe the next one is kind of the party bears, right? You've got this opportunity to mint this thing at low value. There'll also be public sales, and getting in at something at 0.1 ETH, which could be worth an ETH, but also could be just your thing, your new character, your new representation that you might want in the metaverse. To me, it's awesome. But obviously it is a challenge that they need to make sure, you know, that they need to work hard on, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. And stretching yourself thin, I have not enough for a fluff. I mean, I do now if I sell a box, but I'm not going to do that.
A 5 fluffs.
yeah, exactly. But I will definitely get a fluff at some point. But I got in there with thingies just after mint, and got in there for quite a good price. So I have one thingy, so that's my foot in the fluff world, and maybe that'll get my all-star in a bar or something, you know. But
I have a feeling. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was going to say, I have a feeling that you'll have the opportunity, if you win enough AFA games in the arena, they've got to be some sort of tie-in to Asto accumulation and the ability to purchase a fluff. I can't imagine they would leave an open-ended loop like that just kind of floating there. So a couple of different channels to make your way to a fluff, I'd imagine.
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah, if my all-stars can earn me a fluff, wow.
There you
Insane
go.
Thing.
Nice. So want to be mindful of time. We've got about 10 minutes here, and we can keep going if we need to. But one of the things that I really wanted to talk about was how you're preparing for the great unboxing. Have you thought about, well, I guess I should take a step back. Have you put much thought into it? Are you just going to kind of let it happen and ride the wave? Or do you have a more methodical approach that you're going to be taking and trying to execute on a particular plan?
You said you got 4 boxes.
I was originally thinking flags of countries, to be honest.
Okay.
Wow.
Matching player accessories and something else.
Very cool idea.
Country colors.
Yeah.
That was my original plan. I don't know if I'll stick to that, but
yeah.
But some countries I can't do it, and then lots of countries like New Zealand is just a Union Jack, and so I don't know how I'll differentiate that with like 4 stars versus 5 stars for Australia. So that gets like hard, but maybe like block flags that are just like 3 solid colors.
Right. That's such a good idea. Yeah, maybe with what is it, 500 million current configurational options or combinations, I think Phil had mentioned in that design walkthrough. You may be able to pull some inspiration from like a particular year's World Cup jersey. You know, if the flag is not getting you where you need to be, you can look back at the, you know, kind of record books of jerseys through time.
I love it. I mean, obviously, so I think, as I mentioned today, I've decided that I am going to open the box. There was consideration at times about, well, am I kind of, you know, because at the end of the day, and I said this to Carmen when I in the team, when I was fortunate enough to mint the glitch box, that it's kind of quite a big pressure. You know, I have had a bunch of people contact me about talking about paying me, you know, considerable money for this thing. And they're kind of like, well, I don't want to, you know, something that is a lot of value for me and my family. I don't want to kind of just, you know, give it away, or fritter it away by not making the most of it. And so I was thinking, well, potentially the value there is in it not being open, but the value there is potentially only if I'm wanting to sell it. And I don't, you know, I want to be, as you've seen probably from my involvement so far, for my minting strategy all the way up till now, I want to be part of this. So so I spoke to the team about, I think we haven't decided sort of when it will work, but I think they're going to kind of host for the glitch box, this is host a special kind of reveal, which would be useful because at least then I'll, like, whatever it is, they'll be able to give me a bit of color on it rather than it be like,
that might just be pulling your leg, mate. They might never give it to you.
Yeah, exactly. It was funny. I think it was maybe my son who said, wouldn't it be great if you opened it and like fireworks went off and stuff and the box was empty? Because you'd never expect that.
I don't think that would be great, but that's so funny.
So I think the plan is potentially maybe to do that sort of a week after the great unboxing. But I think for the unboxing itself, I think my thoughts were, I mean, I really want the special characters, but I've got one ultra box.
Okay.
I've got a bunch of mythics because I bought a few more rares and a mythic after the AMA on at the weekend because I was just kind of like, seriously, this, instead of trying to sort of take a bit of profit and be sensible about it, I just thought this is crazy, giving Asto and then getting excited about these characters. So I've got a bunch. I think the mythics will have a chance of the special characters, which would be great. But I think I'm probably going to do quite quickly. I'll do an unboxing of a original or a rare box and understand. What I think the pressure I'd feel is kind of getting that configuration right. So like you were saying about like the flags and stuff, you do it and then it might be like, oh, if I'd have done such and such, that would have been even cooler representation. Right. So I think I'd like to do kind of a trial one. Yeah.
I think Chasing Tail said she might leave a couple boxes or something unconfigured. So if we learn things later, or like maybe some family might keep, or like a family might get a stadium or something, I don't know. So depends. And Aaron did say mint carefully. So, what does that mean?
I listened back to the recording today when it got dropped, and I was kind of, when they said that, mint carefully, and I was thinking, oh my God, like the pressure of doing it, and not the pressure financially, but just the pressure of like, you get one shot at this. If you, I've got a plunger trait, and then everyone is like the real value and the great sort of fanfare is around some other trait. It's like, oh my God, I could have done that. I had the option of doing the kitten, and I chose the plunger or the Game Boy or whatever it would be.
I think, I mean, who knows what the right answer is, and I don't think that they're going to disclose that in its entirety before the great unboxing.
Like Fluffs, I guess, it's
level playing field.
What's your thoughts then, Tanuki? What's your
I've got so many conflicting thoughts like you guys. But I think just from what I'm hearing with those little tidbits of information, when he says mint carefully, I think really what my interpretation of that is just have like intention behind what you're minting. Don't just scramble to get a particular combination locked up, because I think they had mentioned that there's, everyone is essentially going to be unique. So of the, 500 million combinations, no two are going to be identical. So what they mean by that is, if I wanted a particular configuration, but someone else has already done that, that's no longer available to me. So I think they're trying to avoid this mad dash for people to get things just in and locked up. I think it's much more important to think, like you're saying, like what's the difference between the cat and the plunger? So just having a theme or having like a hypothesis and just sticking to that, I think is going to do us much more benefit, but who knows?
It's really exciting. And I think what I also want to do is, because my kids are so excited about opening their boxes, I kind of want to do one so that we all get to see like the mechanisms and what it's like, and then so they can have a bit of a think about theirs, because I know what they're like. They'll open and they'll configure, and then that's it. And it's like, which in a way is good. It's like, that's not a bad thing to just go with your gut and your conviction, but it's quite nice to make the most. This, what we're doing now is a once in a lifetime thing. We're unboxing we're the first people to be unboxing this amazing thing with AI and configuring. And once we've done it, it's not happening again. It's not like, if someone else copies the same thing in 6 months' time, it's still going to be a copy of this. What we're feeling experiencing now is unique,
They've
groundbreaking.
It's such a good point, and they've reiterated that time and time again, that this notion of being early and having faith in the project, we're going to be rewarded regardless. And again, I see a parallel to Axie Infinity. I know there was a question in the Discord about, well, why would we want to mint more brains and release those into the wild for new people, because that's just going to dilute the total number of brains, the total population of brains. But that's actually, the reverse is true, where the more brains that are in existence, it means that the, Genesis brain to regular population brain ratio continues to decline. So they become more and more rare, by math. So I'm excited to see. I don't think we can go wrong. These all-stars, so that's the brain topic. And then the character topic, like we've been talking about, is another thing. And there's only, at least my understanding is, there's only going to be this Genesis all-star team. There are going to be plenty of other players that come into AFA, assuming the game scales. But again, just like the Genesis brain, there's only going to be the all-star crew minted now. So no matter what the configuration looks like, that's not going to be happening again, to my knowledge.
I think it's that they've talked about the breeding, I think, haven't they, the studio, where they've said, there is, and I don't know if they talked about this Genesis idea about breeding. Obviously, none of these things they've gone into detail of. It's just as like trying to be detectives. But there appears to be an ability to, with whether it's with Asto or with an original all-star, to do some form of breeding in the future. But then I was kind of thinking, does that mean if you've got like a prime or a superheroine and that breeds with a standard player, like, does that mean they have, a lot like the Axie Infinity,
right?
Get a chance of a mythic or whatever it might have been. And that's good, because obviously that's the way of onboarding more people into Axie Infinity, wasn't it? Was people breeding, selling their players to new entrants, and keeping, and hopefully those second derivatives are at a value proposition to get more people in playing the game, and obviously increasing the value and the rarity of the original crew, of which obviously we'll be part of.
Yeah, sure. Such a good point.
And also on the topic of that, more brains means less valuable argument. That's where the DAO comes in. That's the whole reason for the DAO, where we decide what the value is, So if there's a community sort of agreement that X amount of brains takes us into a territory where we'll have unused brains, and we want to make sure there's a demand for the brains that are out there already, then we can do that, because that's how DAOs work and stuff like that, So that's a really exciting part of building the economy, as well as the game, as well as the community, etc. And people will have their concerns. We can just have discussions like this and then see what side we want to be on. I don't want to be like an evangelist and just be like, ASM,
great,
an ASM maxi.
This is all controlled. This is DAO controlled,
right?
It's like, then solutions are found. It's not like there's a higher power, like in EA Sports or something, that are just going, this is how we're doing it, and everyone's like, I don't like that, so we'll play another game. It's like this, the community determines not everything. I mean, clearly this is a business. These are business people and foundations and capital funds behind this that want to get a good return on their projects and their energy and their funds. But it's the decisions appear to be, and the structure of the roadmap and the white paper is about, like you said, community-led discussions and actions, of which they will be a voice into that pool, which is just awesome.
Yeah. As an NFT and crypto newbie, I have so much to learn in every aspect of the ecosystem. But one in particular for me is how DAOs function. I stumbled across an A16Z article that I was thinking of just doing a reading of, or at least populating it to Discord, because I think so many people can benefit from reading it. And it really talks about if you're a part of a DAO first organization, what that means, what the implications are, what types of factors are going to go into the community making the right decisions. At what point do you pass the baton from the Harlan DAO to the, phase 2 organization? So many variables. So I think that would be a really interesting read up.
Awesome. Yeah, please do.
Well, I want to be keeping an eye on the clock. Is there anything that we haven't talked about just in this initial chat that you guys were really dying to talk about? Something that you want to raise as a topic before we wrap up this first session here?
No, I think you've done a great job.
Yeah, it's funny because it's so easy to get excited.
Yeah.
You're having a conversation and I can feel my kind of getting warm and thinking, oh my God, and start like just imagining what it's like. But what's great is it's not this, like you see some of these projects where, I mean, who knows, it could be once the box is opening, there's a drop in terms of price, but you see some of these projects where you get this hype and then it falls flat when the whole thing's delivered. I don't get any sense of that because that there's we're going to be waiting for a game, and surely along that way there's going to be some form of lull in terms of activity because it can't just keep dropping new stuff every day. Right. But we just know that it's just constantly going to be building and constantly improving the feeling for the everyone involved. Amazing. Yeah.
You're right. You're like so right. And especially when there are going to be troughs, they might just pick us up with the second game that's going to come out.
Right.
Drive a Lambo with you or whatever it is.
Yeah. No, I think that's so accurate in terms of the timeline. And I think that's part, going all the way back to the start of our conversation where we were talking about what makes this community different or what makes this project, non-toxic. And I really, to me, it goes back to this notion of time horizons and, patience versus impatience. And I think they're doing such a methodical, well-architected job of drip feeding us the things that we need to know at that given time. So, we're all super excited for the great unboxing. That's going to happen. We're going to be super busy for the week, configuring our characters, assembling teams. And then it's like, okay, great. Now what do we do? And that's when we start to talk about ASTO. And then we're going, that's our next game, which is figuring out the right ASTO allocation, thresholds and how much do we want to accelerate our brain mining, before the game comes out. Then the game comes out and we get so there's, so many education areas that I think we're in for quite a treat to learn about.
I think this is what I was thinking about today, the amount of information they must have about all of the mechanics of what they're looking at. And like you were talking about the alpha they dropped on the call, the only reason why when you look back, the reason why they had to mention the ASTO airdrop was because I was there thinking, am I going to need to stake $50,000 worth of each to get enough ASTO so I can have enough brains for my team? And they'd obviously thought about, not about me, but about people that have got more
that scenario.
And sort of thought, well, what are they going to do? We can't expect them to, if they've got 10 boxes, to have to stake 10 times the currency to get in the yield farming to get the ASTO to then mine. And so in a way of answering my question, they had to kind of reveal that element of it. Right. But you could tell they had another element that they were equally as excited about.
Yep.
They were like, let's not tell them that. No, don't. And you're thinking, what could be more exciting than you're airdropping ASTO tokens into our wallets for free? But clearly there's something there, isn't
I just thought of something while you were saying that. They simulated what the metaverse means to you competition. Mm-hmm. And winners of that got a morph trait. So are we going to be able to trade traits?
Ooh,
that's interesting. I'm trying to go back in my mind. I feel like that's been.
They hinted at that on the last call a little bit. When it's one of those things where you don't hear it at the time, but I listened back and they did talk about, and I think they sort of like, oh, hold on, when one of them was saying something that might allude.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I think you're onto something, Suda. I'm excited to see what happens, but that's a really good call out.
I might need $50,000 just for all the puppies.
Yeah,
right.
No, it's seriously, we there's definitely a lot of puppy demand. I've got a feeling that it might be. I'm hoping it's a more common trait than there's like 5 or something. Because they'll end up selling for more than the primes and the super bosses, if that's the case.
If that's the case, then those puppies are going to be really popular in the burrows or in Sandbox or wherever they happen to reside.
oh, he's got a puppy.
Yeah.
Look, they'll be following you around. You'll be like some god of the metaverse.
Yeah, it won't be an AI agent. It'll be like a celebrity agent, guarding the puppies.
They'll be ignoring the fluff and just checking his entourage, whether there's
Yeah.
a puppy.
You're just the guy walking the puppies on for their daily walk or whatever.
Yeah, nice. Well, you guys, this has been an absolute treat. Thanks again for carving out the time. I think we should do it again for sure. I hope you feel the same.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Great.
Yeah. You organized it, and I want to thank you for that as well.
Yeah.
My pleasure.
And so maybe we can do a community hangout with the Discord.
Yeah.
I don't know, before or after unboxing. We're kind of getting close to the unboxing now, but
Right. Yeah. Just
I'm sure
hours
the
away.
community will be into it.
Yeah, it's literally. It feels like it's tomorrow. I keep having to think what day. But I mean, we don't know the time yet. That's probably one of the most asked questions on the Discord at the moment. Is when the unboxing? Oh, what time is the unboxing?
We just know December 1st, but not where in the world December 1st.
Yeah. No, well, they did say
Well, they
were
said
based on US.
PST,
didn't they? US
Did
time.
they? Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
There you
The
go.
one PST. So in New Zealand it'll be Thursday.
Yeah.
But not that means anything to you guys. That was just for my own brain.
Well, we'll absolutely get a community conversation going. I love the cross-pollination. You kind of lock yourself in an echo chamber. As much as we chat in Discord, you still start having those, like, I call them shower thoughts, where like you're in your shower and you're thinking about like, oh man, that's really creative. Got to write that down. I think these are really good platforms to kind of express that creativity and see what other people are thinking. So we'll set that up for sure.
I'm going to think on my New Zealand flag team now and like try and get there first. I love it. I mean, that's great. Like, think about the flag team. Is awesome. Awesome.
Suda's got that one blocked. Yeah. Before we stop the recording, can you guys share where you'd like people to find you, whether that's Twitter handles or other locations in the metaverse? And then Studio, if you could talk about your video or just give us a heads up on what to expect, we'll be sure to direct some traffic your way as well.
Oh, thank you so much. I'll just post things in the Discord. That's like my hangout, basically. You'll find me there. And the video is just going to be. It was originally meant to be like a half an hour video where I thought like I'll do a little rundown on ASM. Yeah. But now it's gotten insane. I'm also trying to learn like little video editing tricks for
it's great.
Animations, just like little images popping up and stuff like that. So that's taken a while. Hopefully I'll drop it before the unboxing.
Good. Excited to see it.
Yeah, and so obviously on the I think in this Discord I'm PJFluffMcGlitch, and I don't know how long I'll be there. Obviously, as soon as the box goes, I have to maybe call back. I think in the Fluff Discord I'm PJFluff. And then on Twitter, I'm Punk5098.
Sounds good. Yeah. I'll I don't know what the traffic looks like in terms of like the Anchor, site, but I'll post that and people will come find you in Discord, I'm sure. Thank you guys both so much.
No, thank you. Really appreciate
that. Thank you.
Well,
and Phil, thank you.
Yeah, we'll catch you around the community.
Cool. Thank you.
See you later.
Yeah.